Hello everyone. Thank you for clicking on the Literacy Volunteers of Harrison County YouTube channel. We are a nonprofit United Way agency and we provide these videos to you free of charge for educational purposes. We would love for you to like them, subscribe to our channel, just click on the little bell icon below, share them with your friends. We started a new series, Biology 101, and the first topic we looked at was cells. And the second topic we're going to look at in Biology 101 is energy and biological systems. It's one of the major topics of biology. I gave you all 5 of those in the first video. If you didn't watch it, we have all of our videos listed in playlists. Click on the playlist and you can go back and watch the videos so you can kind of get caught up to where we are. But biological organisms are open systems. And when we talk about open systems, we're talking about our energies exchanged, right, between an organism and its environment. That's what we talked about homeostasis a little bit in the first video. And they use, everyone uses energy from the sun, either directly or indirectly. And we'll look at that in on the last page. And we also, plants use energy from the sun to perform photosynthesis. And photosynthesis, they consume energy storing molecules and release it into their environment. And it gives us heat and work, and they do work. And you'd have to look at the biological definition of work, but we're not going to look at that now. What is biological energy? We're going to look at metabolism, and I've written for you here that metabolism needs energy, and we've looked at metabolism before in our health and wellness videos, but metabolism is a combination of both anabolism, we're building things up, and catabolism, tearing them back down. So that's what happens in your body, right? You build things, you tear them back down. So we're looking at that, and why do we need energy? And where does it come from? We're going to break down those raw materials that we looked at that are inside of the cell, and we're going to get energy for your body because you need energy to be able to function. So we're going to look at this energy in the synthesis of cellular proteins. And you always, when you look at biology, 99% of the time we're talking about protein. In the next video, I will discuss DNA with you, and we'll talk about how it carries your genetic code. But they originally thought it was a protein that carried your genetic code. So now we'll look at see how they discovered that it wasn't. It was DNA, which is not a protein. It's a nucleic acid. So chemical reactions require a source of energy. So where does it come from? How's it stored? How do you get energy within your biological open system? Living organisms use 2 major types of energy storage. The first way we store energy are in these energy-rich molecules such as glycogen. Glycogen is how sugar is stored in your liver. And they store energy in what are called covalent bonds. And if you remember from general chem, you have 2 types of bonds, covalent and ionic. In covalent, the electrons are shared. And so what happens, this is glucose, and glucose is just a simple sugar. And you can look at it in this form or straight up and down, it doesn't matter. But this carbon is sharing electrons with this oxygen, and in turn that carbon, and in turn this carbon, right? And so what happens here is there's a lot of energy, stored in those molecules, in those covalent bonds. And we break those to get energy within our body or within any living systems. And we can also transfer electrons in what are called redox reactions, oxidation reduction. And so when we oxidate a substance, we're going to lose an electron. And when we reduce it, we're going to gain an electron. And in that process in biology, we use electron characters, NAD plus and NADH. If you notice, one has a plus and one has an H. The H in biology usually always is a proton, a neutron, and an electron. We think of it normally as a hydrogen atom. So here we've lost one, so we have a positive valence, we have a positive molecule, and here we've gained it. Energy and metabolism, we're going to get that ATP. Last video we talked about the mitochondria being the powerhouse of the cell, and an energy currency that you use and all organisms use is ATP. So in aerobic, meaning we use oxygen, metabolism, we're going to convert that one little glucose molecule, that one sugar, into 30 to 32 ATPs. We're not going to talk about how, unless you put some comments below and you would like to see the cycles, glycolysis, carboxylic acid cycles. I could go over those for you biology lovers out there. So what is important for energy metabolism? Nutrition. We talked about that in our health and wellness video. What you eat is what you are. That's the fuel for your body. If you eat junk, you're not going to have very much fuel for your body and you're going to be junk. So you have to eat what's right. The pathways of metabolism rely on those nutrients. They break down what you eat, whether it's an apple or a piece of cake, and to provide you energy. The energy is required in your body because you have to make proteins. You have to make those nucleic acids, that DNA and RNA. You're not making it from scratch. You're simply taking what your parents gave you and reproducing it. And the major elements are carbohydrates, lipids, which are fats, and proteins. These are what are in your diet, what you eat. That's the energy that you get from what you eat. Potential chemical energy of these molecules is transferred into forms such as thermokinetic energy. There are, when you talk in science, two types of energy potential. If I had a penny sitting here on my hand, while it's sitting there not moving, it's all potential energy. When I drop it, the energy of motion is kinetic, 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 till it lands again. Now it's potential. So kinetic is energy in motion, whereas potential energy is the energy stored in molecules, like our glucose here. So we can take that glucose, break it down, and get thermal kinetic energy when you're running. They sometimes have you carb load. You eat a bunch of carbs so you can get a bunch of those simple sugars in your diet to give you energy. So energy production from carbohydrates is called cellular respiration. And what we have taken here is a glucose and oxygen, right? You need to breathe in oxygen. Take a deep breath because your body uses that glucose and oxygen to produce carbon dioxide, is what you exhale, and water, and that gives you the energy. So you ate that big meal, your body breaks it down, and now you have a lot of energy, right? The metabolism of a monosaccharide, that's a simple sugar, mono means one, saccharide means sugar, can produce energy for the cell to use. That's our glucose we talked about. Inside the cell, that sugar molecule is going to break down, and that chemical energy is going to be released from those covalent bonds, and we're going to make that ATP, that cellular energy that you need. We also can produce, plants can produce carbohydrates. That's called photosynthesis. And if you notice, if you look at the two reactions here, one is the exact opposite of the other. So what we're going to do is run this in reverse. We're going to take our carbon dioxide, which that little plant takes in, we water it, right? You have to water your plant and get some energy, and out comes our glucose, our simple sugar, and oxygen that we breathe, right? That's why they always tell you have to talk to your plants at home because it helps them to grow. So here's the glucose that we need. So during photosynthesis, plants are going to convert that light energy, and what they do is they build carbon dioxide gas to make glucose. And we could look at that later too if you want. You can just leave it in the comments. So what we want to do is we want to put all of this together. I'm going to slide this one over just a little bit. There we go. It'll stay up. This is what I've done, kind of made a flow chart for you. This is bioenergetics. It's the concept that energy flows through living systems such as cells. We don't have stagnant energy. We have to have a constant energy flow. So we're going to build up and break down that anabolism, catabolism thing through step-by-step reactions. Some of them are going to release energy, some of them are going to require energy. Most life forms on Earth get their energy from the sun. Here's the sun. I didn't have a yellow marker, but here's the sun, and here's the energy. It gives out its heat. You can feel the heat when you go out in the sun, but you're not an autotroph, right? You can't photosynthesize, so we use the plants to photosynthesize, and those are called what are called producers, right? They're producing the energy for us. Those little plants, you go, you eat a carrot, you eat some celery, right? And we are called the consumers. Animals are the consumers that consume the energy from the plants. We don't get energy directly from the sun, but we do get it from plants, which got energy directly from the sun. See how it flows that way? And then both producers and consumers flow into decomposers, because we have to have a way to get rid of things. We can't all live at one time. We can't have all dead matter. So we have fungi and bacteria and little worms that will decompose, and after that decomposition reactions, heat is put back into the ecosystem here. So we have a constant flow from sun to producers to consumers to decomposers back around that way. So this is what keeps everything going and keeps our energy moving through our ecosystem. The next video that we do in Biology 101 will be on DNA and RNA and the discovery of those and how important those are to living systems. We thank you again for clicking on our videos. Please hit that bell icon below and give us a thumbs up. Have a great day.